Austin City Council members are asking for clarity about how involved local police are required to be in federal immigration actions. They say more clear direction is needed after a police decision last week to flag ICE on a Honduran mother and her 5-year-old daughter. They were picked up by ICE as a result.
Joining us now to talk through this and through some of their concerns, as well as actions the city could take next, is Councilmember Mike Siegel. Councilmember, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. So you and a few other council members put out a lengthy statement about this particular situation. And in that, you pointed out that the woman in question had an administrative warrant from ICE. Help our audience understand why that was key to highlight for you all.
Well, thank you so much for covering this. I know this is an area of big concern for Austin residents. A lot of my constituents are writing in, asking how the city can keep them lawless ICE action. And this area of administrative warrants is really important. By contrast with some other procedures that ICE uses, so-called detainer requests, for example, which are mandatory, an administrative warrant is signed by a single ICE agent. It's not reviewed by a judge, and it's discretionary whether the city should respond and support or not. And that's something we really want to clarify in our policies to make sure that Austin police officers are aware this is a discretionary decision they can make, and also to make sure that command staff are carefully allocating our police resources, right? Because responding to a civil immigration concern may not be as important as some serious crimes that we want our police to solve.
Yeah, we also want to note that Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis wrote in a memo this week that these administrative warrants, as you just explained, look very similar to criminal warrants whenever they're going to a call and pulling that up in their own system. She's promising to update the policy now so that officers handle things a little bit more differently, but is it your understanding that that confusion led to what happened?
It's definitely possible. I mean, I think in general our police officers want to uphold the law and respect other law enforcement agencies. The Trump administration last year made a change with how these things show up on the dashboard, so to speak, in police vehicles. And so these administrative warrants didn't used to show up, but now they do. And they even have some misleading language about how they show up that makes them seem compulsory. So we want to make sure that officers are educated that these are not the same thing as detainer requests where the sheriff must comply, that we can make a decision as a city about the resources we have available and the highest priority public safety needs and should respond accordingly.
We want to note for our audience the law in question that relates to how officers or city officials respond to something like federal immigration enforcement is Senate Bill 4. Our audience might know it as the Anti-Sanctuary City Law. It went into effect in Texas in 2017. We know that prohibits policies that restrict communication or reasonable cooperation with ICE, those federal authorities. The police chief said the city could face harsh financial penalties from the state if they're not complying with that law. What's your response to that concern, and how do our local officials and police navigate this, what really must feel a bit like a tightrope with SB 4 here?
Absolutely, and I have a lot of knowledge of this because I was a city attorney when this law was passed, and I was a part of the effort to sue the state to undo the law. And the judge did strike down some portions but upheld others. And so we must cooperate with immigration enforcement. That's clear. And our police chief could face sanctions, could be removed from office if we had a policy that refused cooperation. But in this type of instance where it's a discretionary cooperation, an administrative warrant, we can consider factors, how many calls we're getting, whether we want to protect a victim of crime, how long we would make a certain person wait for ICE before they're coming picked up. We can consider these factors, and really it comes down to two terms, necessary and reasonable. And so if we believe it's unreasonable to wait for ICE or it's unnecessary, our command staff can direct an officer to move on to the next call.
And speaking about what might come next, what kind of work do you think needs to happen at the city level to negotiate and walk that line maybe a little more clearly of not jeopardizing state funding or even other types of penalties the state might levy against the city while still pushing back on some of the things you all object with on federal immigration policy?
Well, I think that it's going to start with updating the general orders to make sure that we're really specifying what officers should do in the case of an administrative warrant, and that we're training command staff on how to balance all of the factors to kind of fulfill our public safety objectives and also live up to our values as a community. So that's the first step. But I think we also want the community to know that the council is really hearing their concerns. I mean, my fellow council member Paige Ellis represents the Oak Hill area, and there's a lot of parents calling in. Why are we complicit, as it's perceived to be, in separating a family or potentially threatening a child whose mother has, I guess, a questionable immigration status. And so we want everyone to know in Austin that we really care about these concerns. We're going to do everything we can to prioritize local public safety and not waste our resources on federal immigration actions.
I have one more question for you. You mentioned training for officers, because I'm struck by, as you're describing, these situations are, every single one may be different, and our officers on the streets are kind of having to use discernment. So even if those general orders are updated, what kind of training, or would there be potential changes in training that council would push for in the Austin Police Department?
Yes, there absolutely needs to be. So everyone needs to understand these different nuances of immigration law, which is not usually what a police officer is trained upon, right? They're trained to enforce criminal laws, and these are not criminal laws. These are civil laws. And they may not understand the difference between an administrative warrant that is not signed by a judge, that is not criminal, versus another warrant they might see day to day. So we really need to do that training. And we really need to figure out what resources we have to even assist ICE with these discretionary asks. Because what I hear from Chief Davis is that there's 101 higher priority public safety needs that she wants our officers to respond to, and I really want to support that direction.